name's Eric. I really appreciate you stopping by and check out my video today. On this episode of Smoking, I'm going to do one of our family favorites, smoked salmon. My sister-in-law is coming down tomorrow to celebrate my daughter's birthday, and she's been bugging me for months to make this smoked salmon. But I'm going to kick it up to the next level because what I'm going to do with this is an Apricot Dijon Glazed smoked salmon. Now if you want to check out my original smoked salmon video, I'll leave a link below. It's still delicious, but I'm just going to make this a little bit different to try to incorporate some new flavors. So stick around, I'm going to show you how to do this step by step. Let's get cooking. So here we are. I have two beautiful salmon fillets. I mean, look at these things. They're gorgeous and they're huge. They're each around 3¼ pounds. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to rinse them off under cold water and I'm going to slice them into smaller pieces. And then we're going to get ready to brine them because we need to brine the salmon before we smoke it tomorrow. And we're going to brine it overnight in the fridge. So let me slice these up into smaller sized pieces and I'll show you the next step in 1 second. So this brine for the salmon is super simplistic and super easy. You're going to mix 3 parts brown sugar with 1 part kosher salt. I just took a little cup scoop here and I did 3 scoops of brown sugar, 1 scoop of kosher salt. Mix it together. And I did it again, so I did it twice. You want to just make sure you have enough to cover the fish, okay? So you see I cut the salmon into smaller pieces here. And now we're going to put the fish in a container covered with this salt and brown sugar mixture, and we're going to let it sit overnight in the fridge. You want to do it between 10 and 12 hours. You don't really want to go more than 12 hours because the fish is going to absorb a lot of salt. So, also about your container, you want a non-reactive container. Non-reactive means plastic, glass, or stainless steel. This is stainless steel. You don't want to use something that's metallic like copper because that's going to interact with the way this is going to cure. So you just take the mixture here, and we're just going to put a couple scoops on the bottom here. Spread it around. Maybe one more. Because we want to make sure that this mixture is touching all parts of the fish. And then we're just going to take the fish and we're going to start putting it in this mixture piece by piece. And then we're going to cover it with more of the sugar salt mixture. And you can double stack this too. Now what's going to happen as this sits in the fridge overnight now is that this mixture is going to suck a lot of moisture out of the fish. In fact, these pieces are going to shrink quite drastically. You'll be surprised. And this dry brine is going to turn very much into a liquid brine. It's going to be very liquidy. So just like that, like a single layer. And then we're going to top these with more of that mixture, and then we're going to layer that last bit right on top. It should look like when it's done. Just make sure it's covered. It's okay if little bits of salmon is that you can see here. It's fine because as this starts drawing out moisture, it's all going to be covered in kind of a liquid. So now I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap and it's going to go into the fridge, and I'll meet up with you guys here tomorrow morning and show you the next step. See you then. Good morning, everyone. It's the next morning and I just pulled this out of the fridge. You can see that most of that brown sugar and salt mixture has turned into a liquid because it's pulled all that moisture out of the fish. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rinse off each piece of salmon very well under cold water. We want to make sure to remove any remnants of this mixture. Otherwise the salmon's going to get way too salty. And then I'm going to lay it out on my smoker racks. You can use any kind of rack, but you want to lay it out and you want to get some circulation. It's early in the morning today. It's still pretty cool. I'm fortunate that it's overcast. The sun hasn't come out. We're going to let this air dry for a couple hours. It's a very important process when you're smoking salmon because it's going to form a pedicle on the outside of the skin. It's going to become tacky to the touch, but I'll show you that. So I'll be back in a second. I'm going to rinse each piece off individually for a few seconds, turning it around, making sure I get all that stuff off like I said. We'll be back in a second. I'll show you the next step. Alright, here we are. I rinsed each piece off. Look at this, 6 pounds of salmon resorting to 2 trays from my smoker. Now I just laid the trays from my smoker in here and I sprayed it with a non-stick cooking spray. I rinsed each piece of salmon off very well, and then I place, as you can see, the salmon pieces on the racks here. Now we have to let this dry for probably 2-3 hours. You can put a fan on it to help speed up the process. Don't be worried about the fish sitting out. That salt has removed a lot of the moisture. In fact, you can see how much smaller the pieces are compared to last night when I put them in. And this is part of the process. Make sure you have enough space between each piece to allow air to circulate all the way around it. So I'm not going to put a fan on it, but I got a pretty strong ceiling fan here in the kitchen, and I'm going to turn that on high just so air is circulating. Like I said, it's overcast. It's like the perfect day right now to do this. It's cool. It's not hot. That's what you want. Sometimes people put it in their basement, depending on where they live in the country, or they might put it in their garage, put a fan on it. But yeah, just lay it out for 2 to 3 hours and wait until when you touch it, it's going to be tacky and it's going to have a little bit of a sticky touch to it. And then you'll know that it's ready to absorb smoke, and then we're going to put it in the smoker. Alright, it's been sitting here under the fans. I just turned the fans off so it wouldn't make too much wind noise here in the recording. It's been sitting here for 2 hours. Now, I don't know if you could see this well on camera, but it almost looks like someone put a clear shellac on top of the salmon. It's got this weird consistency. And if you look at it here, it is sticky when you push on it. So it is pretty much ready to go in the smoker. So I'm going to fire up the smoker and I'll meet you guys outside. Alright, as you see, I got the salmon and the 2 racks on top. Try to place it as far away from your heat source as possible. We want to go as low a heat as possible. If you got a pellet grill, put it on the low setting. The longer you could smoke this, the better. We just want to apply a nice dose of steady smoke till we bring it up to around 145, 150 degrees. So I'm doing this with some cherry wood. I'm keeping my water tray empty, and I'm just going to let this smoke, like I said, low and slow. So we'll come check it back in a little bit. Now that we have the salmon on the smoker, it's time to make the Apricot Dijon Glaze. So we're going to start off with a 1/4 cup of Apricot Preserves. I actually got 3/4 of a cup because I tripled the recipe, because the measurements I'm giving you is for like 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of salmon, and I have 6 pounds of salmon. So adjust the ingredients accordingly. I will leave measurements down below in the video description. So 1/4 cup of Apricot Preserves. Okay, then we're going to do 1 tablespoon of the grainy mustard or stone ground. That adds a nice little color to the glaze with those little mustard seeds. Okay, then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. We wouldn't be calling it an Apricot Dijon Glaze without the Dijon mustard. Oh, and I like the smell of that too. Okay, then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce. You want to use the low sodium because the fish has been soaking in that brine and it's already got plenty of salt in it. Next, we're going to do 1 tablespoon of lime juice. I just squeezed a couple limes here. Then we got 2 teaspoons of ginger, grated. I love the smell of ginger. Oh man. And then last but not least, 2 teaspoons of chopped or minced garlic. So this is what we're going to apply as a glaze on the salmon. I'm going to mix it up very well. I'm going to put a cover on this and stick it in the fridge. I'm going to wait until the salmon can absorb some smoke, and during the last maybe half hour of cooking time, I'm going to lightly brush this glaze on the salmon. Alright, it's been around an hour. It's been hovering around 170 degrees or so. It's about as low as I can get this smoker. Woo, we got some nice smoke. Let's take a look and see how they look. So I got the glaze here, as you can see. And we're going to just apply a light coating on top like this. I'm going to apply the glaze to half of the salmon, and the other half I'm going to leave just plain. I might add it after the fact. Alright, it's been around an hour and a half. I did apply a second coat of the glaze to one of these racks. Check it out here. I did change the racks too. Seemed like the bottom rack was a little bit cooler than the top rack, so I just basically switched them and put the glazed one on the bottom because it was also dripping. But just want you guys to take a look here. Wait for that to kind of set in a little bit. Let's take a look at the regular. Oh, it's looking good. Let's see if I can get a little temperature reading in one of the thicker pieces here. Let's see, how about this one right here? I don't know if you guys can see the reading, probably not from my big hand. See, I moved this one up. This is only reading 128, 129, 145 to 150. I prefer to have it somewhere between 145 and 150. That way I know it's fully cooked. It looks like it's just about there. I'm going to glaze the bottom rack here one last time and give it probably another 10 minutes, and then I'll take the smaller pieces off. I just want to put one last layer of this glaze, man. Oh, I did taste it. We found that it needed a little more apricot, so we put a little more apricot in it. So definitely taste it once you mix it all together and adjust accordingly. If it seems weak on one of the ingredients, go ahead and add. Oh, this is nice. You put it on there and it just kind of smokes onto that top layer. Alright, we're at around an hour and 50 minutes. The bottom one here has been glazed a couple times, and that glaze is kind of caramelizing nicely. The top shelf I just left solo. My sister-in-law, I don't know if she's going to like the glaze, and she's been bugging me so long for salmon. She should be here within the next couple hours. I'm going to let her try, and both, and if she does like the glaze, I have some extra we can put on here. Just so you guys can see, take a look at this, the glazed one. Man, looks good. Let's see where we're at here. Yeah, 150. Perfect. Between 145 and 150 is where you want to be, just to make sure it's cooked. So, alright, I'll meet you guys inside. Alright, here we are inside. It's done. So this is just a regular smoked salmon. I didn't apply any glaze because that's for the sister-in-law. We're not sure if she's going to like the glaze, but I know she likes it like this because she's been begging me for a year to do it. So there it is for her. And then this is the one that I glazed with that Apricot Dijon Glaze. So there you go. We're going to take a sampling of it and see how it tastes. Just so you take a look. Man, it looks wonderful. It's so easy to make, really. Especially if you have a smoker. If you're looking for something to make that's really going to impress your friends and family, believe me, this is it. So we'll be back in a second. We'll give this a taste test. Alright, here we are. We're going to all sample it. I'm with my wife Monica and my sister-in-law Brittany. And here we go. I got some of the glaze here too. I have a couple glazed and then we have a couple unglazed. So grab a fork and try.
Don't mind if I do.
We've already sampled a little bit and I can tell you right now, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
It tastes better after it's been like sitting.
Yeah, I put it in the fridge. I didn't want it sitting out, and you know, had a lot of commotion. Went swimming, put the kids to bed, so we haven't eaten for a few hours. But it seems like the smoke settled into the fish a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
And that glaze too. In fact, I'm gonna take a little bit of this glaze and just put it on.
I wasn't sure about the glaze at first. I liked it, but I just wasn't absolutely sold on it. And then after it's been in the fridge.
Well, I'm in love with the original recipe, so I really didn't think I was going to care for the glaze, but I do. It's really good.
Alright, now try a piece with the glaze.
Can't go wrong with it. I had the glaze.
Well, I know, but I mean, I put some extra on there.
Oh, I'll take extra.
I'm glad I made a bigger dose.
Don't be modest. Take some more.
Take some. So what do you think? It's pretty good? Because the fish by itself is good, but of course it's a little salty because it's been in that salt brine. So I think the glaze, the sweetness kind of helps neutralize it a little bit. Alright, thumbs up, everyone likes it?
Oh yeah.
Alright guys, as always, thanks for watching my video. If you liked the video, hit the like button. Consider subscribing. Check out my website, Eric's Smoking Barbecue, the link above. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.